Okay, so this trade or this video starts at 7:58 in the morning on the 13th of January 2021. Thought I'd start the video a little bit earlier so you can see the pre-market signals and indicators, or the candlesticks anyway, which constitute signals, play out just before the trade is placed. It's pretty important to explain that the setup that I use is just a single laptop. That's all it is. I don't have hundreds of trading screens or things like that. I do have a second screen which does display information. It's nothing to do with the stock market. And annoyingly, yesterday, the software that I used to record these videos, for some reason, recorded the second screen. So I had nothing to upload yesterday. But the trade yesterday pretty much followed the same pattern as the trade today, almost exactly. It's just one of those things. So what happens today, and I think transparency is important because you see what happens today, is what happened yesterday. So the setup itself, the technical setup, is very, very straightforward. I have actually, obviously during lockdown, I've been fortunate enough to work from home, but I've had to leave the house a couple of times before 8 o'clock. And on a couple of occasions, I've managed to find somewhere to park up at about 10 to 8, tethered my laptop to my phone, because you really need to do this on a laptop. It's too difficult to do it on a trading app on a phone. It's too fiddly. Yeah, been successful. Earned 120, 130 quid, closed it all down and carried on with my journey. So it is possible. You don't need a second screen, by the way. You could just use a mobile phone to follow what I follow on the other screen. So, yep, last few seconds here. By this point, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to place the trade at 8 o'clock and in which direction. So it's just a case of waiting just to ensure that nothing strange happens, and at 8 o'clock, bang on 8 o'clock, in this case, place the trade. And there we go. And what's that? 3-4 seconds, not in profit. The profit point being that little yellow arrow. And the rest of the time, the price is under the arrow, which means it's in profit, as you can see on the right-hand side. So next step, pretty obviously, is to place a stop loss. Anybody who says, or anybody who is trading without a stop loss, is just asking for the biggest trouble. Never ever place a trade without a stop loss or knowing where you're going to get out if it goes against you. You do have to let the market breathe a little bit, which is why, although I had the opportunity a few seconds before, I just waited before actually clicking the execute button to put the stop loss in place. And now it's a case of watching the profit. I think it just bottomed out there, or topped out at 140 quid, and now it's hovering around about the 100 mark. As I said, this is pretty much the pattern of what happened yesterday. And to be perfectly honest, by about this point here, I realised I'd missed the opportunity to close the trade for a decent amount of profit. Kind of sort of hoping against hope it might go back down again, but and for the sake of 50-60 quid, it's probably worth waiting. But I knew that I'd actually missed the opportunity. There is a bit of a signal there that I should have actually taken, but I didn't take seriously. Yesterday that wasn't the case. It just moved in the other direction really quickly. So yesterday, zero profit, in profit by about 160, 170 quid, I think, yesterday, and then it went back to zero. Can't really fault myself for that one. Today, kicking myself a little bit. It was there for the taking, and I just hesitated a little bit too long, but that sometimes happens. Let this video run on slightly longer. Strangely, well, not strangely, but annoyingly, this actually does happen quite a lot. The price will go back down again, and it actually goes back down further than where it just came from. But that happens, but it's important to have your stop loss in place. That really is one of the sort of prerequisites to any kind of trading system. So ultimately, you'll get days like this where you're in profit and you don't take it. But the principles are sound, and the speed with which you go into profit is one of the massive advantages of what I'm doing here. So I hope that's been useful.